So you never know, because Kari Lake is doing well, which we'll get to in a minute. And like, does she have coattails? You know, are enough people going to go to the ballot box and say, you know what? I like her. I'm going Republican up and down the line. I had that same question on Friday on Pennsylvania, and I got an interesting answer from Selena Zito. The audience has to go back and listen to that if you want to hear it. So the Arizona debate takes place. Masters and Kelly get up there, and they start going at it over immigration, which is a massive issue in the state of Arizona, both in fact and politically. And here's a little bit of how that went.
I've been focused on the border since day one on this job. I'm down there all the time. I was on the phone this week with Mayor Nichols of Yuma, Sheriff Daniels of Cochise County, talking about what more we need for Border Patrol and immigration.
That, my friends, is called evasion.
We're working to raise Border Patrol pay by 18%. I've got legislation to do that. I've been focused on the border since day one.
Okay. We have no great effect because we have a wide open southern border. So if that's the best you can do, I respectfully request you resign and let's get someone in the seat who will actually secure our border.
Just a little bit more. This is soundbite 13. The debate continued.
If the Mexican drug cartels, if these terrorist narcos, if they could vote in this election, every single one of them would vote for Senator Kelly because they get what they want from him, which is a complete wide open border, is complete free reign. And again, the fentanyl is killing our children. He's not doing a gosh darn thing to stop it.
Love the self-edit on the swear. So how did that go over? Because this is a huge issue in Arizona.
Sure, absolutely. We're a border state. We really bear the brunt of a lot of this of this problem. Obviously a good issue for the Republicans. You've seen Senator Kelly try to kind of lean more towards the center on this. Boasting of us, supporting, I think, $1 billion in funding for, barriers, Border Patrol agents, stuff like that. He's got ads talking about border security. That's one of the areas where he's tried to put a little distance between himself and President Biden on the Title 42 issue. But obviously, it's still an issue that's going to resonate with the voters and going to favor Republicans. And you saw, Blake Masters really trying to hit that hard. I think it was a debate that lacked a lot of notable one-liners, but there were a couple. Two of the only ones we had were on that issue, and you just showed one of them where he talked about if that's the best you can do, you can resign. And there's another question or another comment that Blake Masters made right before that, where he said, can you genuinely say that you've done everything you can to secure the southern border? And this is after he's been hit Mark Kelly on voting against this Republican amendment to fund 18,000 new Border Patrol positions. So you can see, so obviously it's an issue where Kelly knows he has to kind of reach out to the center, reach out across to the right side of the aisle a little bit. Blake Masters is certainly hoping that's not going to be enough for most voters.
Yeah, this is an area in which he is vulnerable because he's a Democrat, and the Democrats are vulnerable. Even though I'm sure Mark Kelly is to the right of Joe Biden in general on most issues because he's in Arizona. The Arizona Democrats are different from the national Democrats as a rule because Arizona used to be red. It's more purple now, but it's not blue.
No, and sure, a lot of the Democrats you've seen over the past, 10, 20 years who have had success at the statewide level are Democrats, folks like, Kelly, Sinema, Janet Napolitano, who have taken a little bit more of a centrist or conservative position on the border.
Yeah. Okay. So now I would give that point Masters, but then you got, of course, points on the other side. And this was Mark Kelly honing in on the issue that's been put a lot of Republicans in a vulnerable position, and that is abortion. And maybe none more so than Blake Masters. I don't know, you just hear this raised all the time with him. Well, and we'll talk about why, but here's Mark Kelly calling out Blake Masters on past comments about abortion. Stop 14.
He has said, and this isn't like years ago, he has said very recently that he wants to punish the doctors. He's called abortion demonic, a religious sacrifice. I don't even know what that means, folks. But what I'm doing is I am protecting your constitutional rights that you have lost because of rhetoric like this.
Okay, so we did look it up. I believe he's referring there, Jeremy, to a comment by Masters to Allie Beth Stuckey, a friend of ours, in September of 2021, where he said as follows: "You see, Allie, how the abortion thing has turned into this religious totem for the left. In the 90s, they just wanted abortions to be safe, legal, and rare. Now you have activists wearing their shirts with tally marks of how many abortions they've had. And this is the cultural thrust of it. It's a religious sacrifice to these people. It's demonic, and we've got to put a stop to it. I will say in his defense, that is a context that changes the way he used the word demonic. He's not saying abortion in general is demonic there. He's saying to be proud of it, to do a tally with how many you've had, proudly wear it. That's a different story. But how did he respond live to that? And how did you think it went over?
Well, the way he responded, I mean, I think more the crux of Senator Kelly's argument, and obviously those are some very inflammatory comments that Blake Masters made, especially if they're not put in that context. But he also spoke earlier during the primary about, possibility of enacting, a federal personhood law that would ban abortions nationally, punishing doctors. And that's what Kelly's really hitting him on in particular. Because now what Blake Masters is saying is, the 15-week ban that we've enacted here in Arizona earlier in the year, which is kind of a ping pong ball going back and forth in the courts to a law that we have that predates even predates statehood, that bans most abortions except to save the life of the mother. Blake Masters came out and supported that, plus of Lindsey Graham's proposal in the U.S. Senate for a kind of a nationwide 15-week ban. That's what he's supporting now. Kelly, of course, is trying to paint him as a flip-flopper. It looks, he's on video talking about, the possibility of banning abortions nationwide. So it's definitely not a good look, and definitely speaks volumes that Blake Masters is kind of pinning his hopes on the 15-week ban now and saying no, he doesn't support a nationwide ban at all.
I mean, honestly, it's the only smart position for Republicans who want to win in states that are in any way purple. It's like, I see that, he faced very little alternative other than to do that, but it did require abandoning earlier statements. What about the stolen election stuff? Because a lot of these Trump-backed candidates kind of had to say they thought it was stolen to get Trump's endorsement. And then once they got the nomination, were like, who? What? Huh? And is he one of those? Because I did hear him at this debate sounding like he was breaking with Trump. Here's the soundbite, and then you tell me whether this is a reversal. It's SOT 15.
Was that election stolen? Was it rigged in any way, shape, or form enough to keep Donald Trump out of the White House?
I suspect that if the FBI didn't work with big tech and big media to censor the Hunter Biden crime story, I suspect that changed a lot of people's votes. I suspect President Trump would be in the White House today if big tech and big media and the FBI didn't work together to put the thumb on the scale to get Joe Biden in there.
But not vote counting, not election results.
Yeah, I haven't seen evidence of that.
So that last piece, definitely that's a divergence from where Trump stands on it. But is it a divergence from where Masters used to be?
I would say so. During the primary, you saw him putting out videos saying things flat out like President Trump won the 2020 election. He was perhaps not quite as strident about it as, say, Kari Lake or some of the other down ballot candidates, Mark Finchem for Secretary of State, Abe Hamadeh for Attorney General. But obviously that was a big litmus test for Trump for his endorsements, in the primaries this year. He was not going to back someone who doesn't say that the election was rigged, that he was cheated out of it. That's, I think that is definitely Masters, I think, kind of seeing the writing on the wall there and not wanting to, pin himself to what's probably an unpopular position with the electorate in general.
Well, Arizona, of course, was one of the big states in 2020 that went for Biden that Trump was so angry about. And they mad at Fox News for calling it too soon and all that. And now there's been like 25 different investigations by like Team Trump. And then the other, I was like, see, it really did get stolen. No, it didn't. How do you think Arizonans see that issue? Forget Trump and Masters and Kelly. How do Arizonans see the issue of 2020?
I think, there's obviously that base of hardcore believers in, these election rigging claims. But I think for the most part, most Arizonans, especially the people that these statewide candidates need to win the general election, I don't think they like that at all. I don't think that's something that they buy at all. We've had, this was 2020 was the first time in 20 years that Arizona voted for a Democratic presidential candidate. Only the second time since 48 when we went for Harry Truman. I think the fact that Masters is backing away from that more now kind of shows exactly where, the independents, the persuadable voters are. Although interestingly enough, you don't see that among the other statewide candidates. He's really the kind of the outlier there in terms of all the Trump endorsed candidates who won the primary. And it was in pretty much every race, it was the Trump endorsed candidates who won those Republican primaries. He's kind of the only one who's really made a point of backing away from that a little. And I think a lot of us were kind of surprised to hear that last week during the debate.
Well, and even before he backed away from it, he was losing all these polls. Like, we don't know if the polls are right or wrong, but he was not doing well in the polls. So it's not like sticking to the Trump was robbed, it was rigged. That wasn't helping him. So now he's trying a different tact of it was unfair, but no, I'm not going to say I saw anything that would have changed the outcome of the election. And I don't know whether that'll change his polls. This debate was last Thursday. But Kari Lake, who's running for governor as a Republican, is 100% Team Trump on stolen on all fronts, not just unfairness, but actually stolen. And she's doing much better. So why is she doing so much better with these same Republicans who you tell me may be turned off by what Blake Masters had said earlier?
Well, a couple of reasons. I mean, Kari Lake is obviously a very charismatic candidate. She really caught fire in the primary in a way I've never really seen a candidate do in, the 14 years or so I've been covering elections in Arizona. We've seen since Donald Trump first got into the political scene in 2015, we've seen so many Republican candidates try to emulate his style. And I don't know that I've ever really seen anyone kind of nail it the way she has. So she's got that going for her. Plus, Mark Kelly is a very difficult opponent. He's some great resume, somewhat moderate credentials. He's got his wife is Gabby Giffords. He's he has a lot going for him. Political consultants will wait their entire career to get a candidate with that kind of resume. Katie Hobbs is just not as strong an opponent for Kari Lake as Mark Kelly is for Blake Masters, and I think it's definitely a big part of her what's helping out Lake right now too, because she has some of the she's not trying to go towards the center in the same way that I think Masters has it as a bit since the primary. Maybe, a little bit in some areas, but not nearly as much. Obviously, like you said, she's still embracing the stolen election rhetoric. You don't see the same kind of pivoting there.
So here's something you may not know about me. I hate spreadsheets. Hate. Abby will deal with them, but I see it. I'm like, oh no, I won't even look at one. They make my mind glaze over. I see it's happening right now, just thinking about them. And you may be like me. If so, I have got the solution for you. If your business is still using spreadsheets or emails to manage important sales commissions, there is another way, a better way. Or what if your support and your operations staff is feeling totally stretched and unhappy and stressed out? Are your salespeople constantly trying to piece together the puzzle for what are we getting paid? What's the potential? Like, what we're missing? What do we need to know? Well, Clear Comp has got the answer for you. They have the solution. Clear Comp is a one-stop shop for your business to manage sales commission documentation like commission plan info, product info, and facts. It's basically a sales operations and sales enablement dream platform. ClearComp works seamlessly with your billing, CRM, ERP, and HR systems, all with the goal of helping your org become more efficient and helping your sales team become more productive. Their dashboards and tools help you identify low-hanging fruit, what opportunities are hot, where you can improve that you hadn't even been thinking about. And as a salesperson, no more black box commission statements and no more hunting around for the latest and greatest decks and one-sheeters. Modernize your sales organization today by visiting clearcomp.com. That's ClearComp.com. Book a demo. Tell them I sent you. You're welcome. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.